Before the world knew its name, before the cameras, the postcards, and the travel dreams, there was a land carved by glaciers, shaped by mountains, and perfected by time. A place where every valley feels like a painting, every lake mirrors the sky, and every village whispers stories older than memory itself. Switzerland is not a destination. It is a feeling, a breath, a pause you didn't know you needed. This is a country where nature isn't just scenery, it's the very soul of the land, where towering peaks slice the sky like monuments to the impossible, and where silence is so pure, it almost has a sound. But behind the beauty lies something deeper, a mystery, a question travelers around the world have asked for generations. Is this the most breathtaking country on Earth? Today, we begin a journey across mountains that scrape the heavens, lakes so clear they reflect entire worlds, and towns frozen in medieval charm. We'll explore not just the landscapes, but the spirit of Switzerland, its traditions, its people, its stories, its magic. So take a breath, slow down, let the world outside fade away, because what you're about to see is not just travel, it's transformation. Welcome to Switzerland. There are places on this planet that don't just impress you, they stop you. They make you forget to breathe for a moment, as if your senses can't process so much beauty at once. Switzerland is one of those rare lands, a place where mountains rise like ancient guardians, where the air feels somehow clearer, where nature doesn't just surround you, it overwhelms you. And in your very first moments here, something becomes clear. This isn't just another destination. This is the beginning of a journey into a world that feels almost unreal. As the sun climbs above the horizon, its first golden rays hit the peaks of the Swiss Alps. These mountains are more than landscapes. They are monuments carved by time itself. Jagged ridges, snow-capped summits, and valleys so deep they seem to hold secrets older than history. From a distance, they look like frozen waves in an endless ocean of stone. But as you move closer, you feel their presence in your chest, a quiet reminder that you are standing before one of Earth's greatest masterpieces. The air carries a chill, but it's refreshing, almost electric. It wakes something inside you. Every breath tastes different here, cleaner, sharper, untouched. The soundscape is equally mesmerizing. Distant waterfalls echoing through the valleys, cowbells chiming softly from faraway pastures, wind brushing gently across the slopes. It's a kind of silence that isn't empty at all. It's full of life, full of depth, full of something you can't name but instantly feel. Your journey begins in the foothills, where green meadows stretch endlessly beneath towering peaks. There's a simplicity here that feels comforting. Small wooden chalets sit quietly among fields scattered with wildflowers. Their rooftops are steep, their balconies carved with delicate patterns, their windows glowing warmly even in daylight. It's as if each one has a story to tell. Stories of long winters, mountain traditions, and families who have lived here for generations. A narrow path winds upward, leading you deeper into this alpine world. Every step carries you toward a new perspective. Sometimes you find yourself looking down at valleys blanketed in mist, the fog moving like slow-flowing rivers. Other times, you look up to see cliffs rising dramatically above you, their surfaces glowing with early morning light. And somewhere between these highs and lows, you realize that Switzerland isn't about a single view. It's about the constant transformation of the landscape. Every turn reveals something new, something bigger, something more breathtaking than what came before. Higher still, the world begins to open. The mountains widen, the valleys deepen, and then you see it. The vast chain of the Alps, stretching endlessly across the horizon. Snow gleams like crystal, and the sky, impossibly blue, feels close enough to touch. This is the Switzerland that the world dreams about. the one seen in postcards and documentaries, the one travelers imagine but rarely experience with their own eyes. But here, standing at the edge of a cliff, watching sunlight spill across a kingdom of peaks, it becomes real. And in this moment, you understand why people say Switzerland is not just beautiful, it's breathtaking. The wind grows stronger as you climb, carrying the faint scent of pine and cold stone. You pass through patches of forest where tall fir trees stand like silent spectators. Rays of sunlight pierce through their branches, creating pillars of gold in the dimness. The ground is soft, blanketed with needles and moss. When you look up, you realize the trees are framing the distant mountains like a natural cathedral. The deeper you go, the more you feel like you are walking through a live painting, one crafted with colors no artist could ever truly capture. Eventually, the path emerges from the forest and leads you to a rocky ledge overlooking an immense valley. Down below, a river glistens as it cuts through the landscape with quiet determination. Its waters come from melting glaciers, far above, shaping the valley inch by inch over thousands of years. The scale of everything hits you. Switzerland isn't just scenic, it's powerful. It's shaped by forces of nature so immense that you can't help feeling humbled. And yet, in the midst of this raw, majestic environment, there is something deeply peaceful, something grounding. The mountains, the rivers, the forests, they aren't just parts of the landscape, they are the heartbeat of the country. You feel small here, but not insignificant. You feel connected to the earth, to time, to something much greater than yourself. As the sun begins its slow descent, the Alps transform once more. Shadows grow long, colors shift towards soft oranges and pinks, and the last rays of light cling to the highest peaks like a farewell. The day ends, but the feeling does not, because the first chapter of Switzerland has already left its mark on you. And somewhere inside, you know, this is just the beginning. The most breathtaking moments are still ahead. There are places where water doesn't just reflect the world, it transforms it. Switzerland's lakes are like mirrors, crafted by nature itself. Mirrors that hold the sky, the mountains, and every shifting color of the day within them. And when you first stand at the edge of one of these crystalline giants, something inside you becomes still. It's as if the lake isn't just a body of water, but a doorway into another realm, a place where time slows, sound softens, and the world becomes clearer. The journey begins at Lake Geneva, one of Europe's largest and most elegant freshwater lakes. At dawn, its surface is a sheet of calm silver, stretching into the horizon with a serene confidence. The water barely moves, yet it carries the reflection of the Alps with perfect precision, snow-capped peaks suspended upside down, floating in a world of blue. The city of Geneva sits quietly beside it, elegant and composed, its streets waking slowly with the sun. But the lake steals every glance, every breath. Small boats drift softly across the surface, barely leaving ripples, like whispers on a glass table. Walking along its edge, you hear the gentle tapping of water against the stones, the distant hum of early morning cyclists, and the soft flutter of swans gliding through the stillness. And then there's the jet d'eau, a tower of water shooting into the sky, catching the sunlight like a shimmering spear. It's bold, powerful, and yet somehow perfectly in harmony with the peaceful lake that surrounds it. Geneva's lakefront feels like a blend of sophistication and calm, a place where nature and city life don't compete, they dance. But Switzerland's lakes tell many stories, each one different. Travel to Lucerne, and you enter a world where water and mountains collide in the most cinematic way imaginable. Lake Lucerne is a masterpiece of twisting arms and deep blue channels, surrounded by peaks so steep they seem to fall straight into the water. As you approach, the lake greets you with a brightness that feels almost unreal. It sparkles with a clarity that makes you question whether this place is real or just a dream crafted by nature. The historic city of Lucerne sits at its northern tip, with a charm that feels timeless. Wooden bridges stretch across the water, their roofs filled with centuries-old paintings. Church towers rise above cobblestone streets. And beyond it all, the lake spreads outward like a living painting. Stepping onto a boat, you feel the gentle sway beneath your feet as the engine hums softly. The wind carries the scent of fresh water and pine, and as the boat moves across the lake, the landscape unfolds around you. Mount Pilatus rises dramatically on one side, rugged and proud. Mount Rigi stands serene on the other, known as the Queen of the Mountains. Their reflections shimmer on the lake's surface, bending and stretching with each ripple. There is a moment, a quiet, indescribable moment when you realize that Lake Lucerne isn't just a lake. It's an entire experience, a dialogue between earth and sky, between light and shadow, between stillness and movement. But the journey doesn't end there. Switzerland's lakes continue to surprise. Travel deeper into the country, and you find Lake Brienz, a lake so turquoise, it looks as if someone poured the color directly from a painter's palette. Its waters are cold, pure, and fed by glacial streams, giving it an almost luminous glow. Standing at its shores, the world feels surreal, bright, vibrant, untouched. The steep cliffs that surround it rise like colossal walls, and the breeze carries a coolness that feels almost alive. Not far from Brienz lies Lake Thun, warmer, wider, and gentler. Together, the two lakes cradle the town of Interlaken, a place where adventure and serenity coexist. From the water, the view is breathtaking. Chalets dotting the hillsides, forests spreading across the slopes, and distant peaks glowing with sunlight. Kayaks glide across the surface, leaving trails that vanish almost instantly. And in the air above, paragliders float silently, drifting through the sky like colorful feathers. As the day progresses, the lakes shift their personalities. Morning silver turns into afternoon sapphire. Soft ripples grow into shimmering patterns as the wind sweeps across the surface. Birds scatter across the horizon, rising and falling in hypnotic waves. And then evening arrives slowly, gracefully. The lakes begin to glow with warmer hues. Rose, gold, violet. Lights reflect from lakeside towns, creating twin worlds, one real, one mirrored, each equally beautiful. In these moments, you understand something deeper. Switzerland's lakes are not simply destinations. They are emotions. They are reflections of the landscape's soul. They carry the stories of mountains, forests, and rivers. They hold memories of ancient glaciers and timeless villages. And they invite anyone who stands before them to pause, breathe, and truly feel the world. As night finally falls, the water turns dark and still, like a sheet of polished obsidian. Stars appear one by one, mirrored beneath your feet. The mountains fade into silhouettes, silent and majestic. And in that quiet, something becomes clear. Switzerland's beauty isn't loud. It doesn't try to impress. It simply exists, overwhelmingly, peacefully, undeniably breathtaking. And this is only the beginning, because beyond the lakes, a new rhythm awaits the pulse of Swiss cities, where history, culture, and modern life blend seamlessly. Look up, and you'll see it. The reason millions fall in love with New York before they ever set foot on its streets. Towers of steel and glass piercing the clouds, shadows stretching like giants across the avenues, and that unmistakable feeling that you're standing inside the world's most iconic skyline. New York City doesn't just rise, it soars. The story of New York's skyline begins long before the supertalls, the glossy facades, and the architectural innovations that dominate Midtown today. It begins with ambition raw, unfiltered ambition, etched into stone, brick, and steel. When immigrants stepped off ships in the 1800s, The first thing many saw was a city ready to build upward, not outward. Manhattan's limited space meant expansion could only happen in one direction, the sky. And so began the race, a race that would define a century. By the early 1900s, entire neighborhoods transformed into canyons of glass. Skyscrapers weren't just buildings, they were declarations. This is the place where anything is possible. Each new structure tried to outdo the last, and each one seemed to whisper to the world, "Dream bigger." Nowhere is this more evident than Midtown Manhattan, home to some of the most recognizable silhouettes on the planet. Walk along Fifth Avenue, and you'll see the city's history unfold in architecture. The Empire State Building, once the tallest in the world, still stands regal, its Art Deco crown glowing each night like a beacon. It is more than a landmark. It is a symbol of perseverance. Built in the middle of the Great Depression at a pace so fast, it still amazes engineers today. And then there's the Chrysler Building, often called the most beautiful skyscraper ever created. Its silver spire, crafted with geometric precision, catches the sunlight like a burst of fire. For a brief moment in history, it held the title of the world's tallest building. But more importantly, it held the world's imagination. Even today, its shine has never faded. But New York didn't stop evolving. The skyline kept climbing. Modern architecture soon joined the stage. Sleek, towering giants like One Vanderbilt now stand beside older icons, mirroring the constant push toward innovation. These new structures embrace glass walls, open interiors, and sustainable design, proof that New York refuses to dwell in the past, even as it celebrates it. And if you want to witness the skyline in all its glory, observation decks across the city offer views that feel almost unreal. From the top of the Rock, you can see Central Park unfurl like a green ocean, bordered by a fortress of skyscrapers. It's one of the rare spots where you can photograph the Empire State Building in perfect alignment with the city's grid. At Edge, the highest outdoor sky deck in the Western Hemisphere, you stand on a glass triangle that floats above the city. The wind, the height, the endless horizon, everything feels amplified. It makes you realize just how massive New York truly is. And then there's Summit One Vanderbilt, a place where architecture meets art. Mirrored floors and reflective walls create an illusion of floating among the clouds. It's more than a view, it's an experience. But perhaps nothing compares to seeing the skyline from the water. As you sail past Manhattan on the Hudson or East River, the city reveals its full profile. From the Statue of Liberty guarding the harbor, to the financial district's rising cluster of towers, to Midtown's shimmering giants, all the prost way to the quiet uptown neighborhoods, where the buildings soften and greenery takes over. It's the perfect reminder of what makes New York truly magical. A city built from millions of stories, yet shaped into one breathtaking silhouette. And as day turns into night, the skyline transforms again. Lights flicker on one by one office floors, apartment windows, digital billboards, until the city glows like a circuit board alive with energy. It is said that New York never sleeps, but perhaps it simply dreams with its eyes open. In the next chapter, we dive deeper into the pulse of this city, into neighborhoods that feel like worlds of their own. But before we get there, take a moment. Look at that skyline. Every line, every reflection, every glowing window is a reminder that this city was built by people who refused to stop reaching upward. And that spirit still lives here today. New York is not one city. It is thousands of tiny universes packed into 5 boroughs, each with its own rhythm, identity, and flavor. And the moment you step into a new neighborhood, it feels like stepping into an entirely different world. If Manhattan is the face of New York, its neighborhoods are the heartbeat, vibrant, loud, quiet, chaotic, artistic, elegant, and everything in between. Let's start in Soho, where cobblestone streets echo beneath designer heels and rolling suitcases. Cast iron buildings rise on both sides like guardians of a district where fashion meets creativity. Luxury boutiques sit beside trendy cafes, and every corner feels like a photo shoot waiting to happen. Once home to struggling artists and cheap lofts, Soho evolved into one of the most stylish neighborhoods on the planet. Yet remnants of its artistic soul still linger in its galleries and warehouse architecture. Head a few blocks north, and the energy shifts. Welcome to Greenwich Village, a neighborhood defined not by glamour, but by character. The Village is where New Yorkers slow down. It's the birthplace of American bohemian culture, home to poets, musicians, performers, and thinkers who reshaped art and activism. Narrow, tree-lined streets curve away from Manhattan's strict grid, giving the area a cozy, almost European feel. Washington Square Park sits at its center like a living stage, filled with street performers, musicians, chess masters, and students from NYU. Here, creativity isn't a trend, it's a legacy. But no journey through New York's neighborhoods is complete without stepping into Chinatown. This district is alive in a way that's uniquely New York. Bustling sidewalks, hanging red lanterns, and markets overflowing with scents and colors from across Asia. It's one of the largest and oldest Chinatowns in the Western world, and its history is written in its storefronts, family-owned bakeries, and restaurants passed down for generations. Walk through Mott Street, or Doyer Street, once known as the Bloody Angle for its sharp turn and hidden corners, and you'll feel the weight of a history that shaped immigrant life in the city. Just steps away lies Little Italy, a neighborhood that once stretched for blocks but today survives as a small yet proud slice of Italian-American culture. The aroma of fresh pasta, cannoli, and espresso drifts through the air, especially during the Feast of San Gennaro, when the streets explode with music, food, and celebration. It's a reminder that New York's identity was built by immigrants who carved out communities that still shine today. Now, cross the East River, because some of New York's most dynamic neighborhoods aren't in Manhattan at all. In Brooklyn, the story shifts again. Williamsburg, once a quiet industrial district, transformed into a hub of creativity and youth culture. Street art covers the walls, independent boutiques line Bedford Avenue, and waterfront parks offer sweeping views of the Manhattan skyline. It's a neighborhood fueled by innovation, music venues, artisan markets, and cafes where people sketch, write, and brainstorm new ideas. Then there's Dumbo, short for Down Under the Manhattan Bridge Overpass. Cobblestones, old factory buildings, and that iconic view of the Manhattan Bridge framed perfectly between red brick warehouses. It's as if every inch of the neighborhood was designed for photographers. Yet, beyond the aesthetics, Dumbo has grown into a center for tech startups, small businesses, and community spaces. Travel deeper into Brooklyn, and you'll find Brooklyn Heights, one of the city's most picturesque neighborhoods. Historic brownstones line peaceful streets, and the waterfront promenade offers one of the best views of Lower Manhattan. This is where New York slows down, where the city feels residential, grounded, and timeless. But New York's diversity doesn't stop there. In Queens, you step into the world's most multicultural borough. Neighborhoods like Astoria mix Greek heritage with a growing artistic community, while Flushing feels like a city within a city filled with incredible Asian cuisine, bustling malls, and streets that reflect the energy of Seoul, Taipei, and Beijing all at once. Queens isn't just diverse, it is the definition of global living. And then there's Harlem, in Upper Manhattan, a neighborhood rich with cultural significance, known for the Harlem Renaissance, an explosion of black art, music, and literature in the early 20th century. Jazz clubs, soul food restaurants, and historic landmarks make Harlem one of the most influential neighborhoods in the world. Walk along 125th Street or visit the Apollo Theater, and you'll feel the weight of history and the power of creativity that still thrives there today. Each neighborhood tells a story. Each block holds memories. And each community adds another layer to the mosaic that is New York. To understand this city is to walk it slowly, curiously, with an open mind. Because every subway stop takes you somewhere entirely new, somewhere unexpected, somewhere alive. New York doesn't just have neighborhoods, it has micro-worlds, and they are the reason the city feels endlessly discoverable. In the next chapter, we explore the experiences that make New York unforgettable. The food, the culture, the late-night energy, and the moments that can only happen here. But for now, remember this. New York's greatness isn't found only in its skyline or its landmarks. It's found in the streets where people live, work, dream, and build the communities that truly define the city. There are cities with great food, cities with vibrant nightlife, cities with rich culture. But New York? New York is the only place where all of it collides, loudly, intensely, beautifully every single hour of the day. If you want to feel the pulse of humanity, you feel it here. Culture in New York isn't polished or filtered, it's raw. It spills into the streets, bursts through subway doors, and rises high above the rooftops. It's in the conversations you overhear, the languages that blend into one soundtrack, and the strangers who suddenly become part of your day. To live in New York is to live surrounded by stories, millions of them unfolding at the same time. Let's start with New York's artistic soul. Broadway is the city's most famous stage, where the lights never dim and every performance feels like a dream brought to life. This is where actors, dancers, and musicians chase the impossible, night after night. But Broadway is only one layer. Off-Broadway theaters, small underground clubs, and street corners often host performances more intimate and emotional than any stage could contain. Walk into the Museum of Modern Art, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, or the Whitney, and you step into worlds that challenge your imagination. Each gallery holds something breathtaking: history, creativity, rebellion, vision. Art in New York doesn't just hang on walls. It flows through the city itself, painting its buildings, filling its subways, and shaping its neighborhoods. But if you really want to experience the culture, you don't go to museums. You go outside. You wander into subway stations where violinists echo through tiled tunnels. You stop to watch breakdancers spin on cardboard mats in Times Square. You walk past jazz clubs in Harlem, where music flows into the night air. You meet painters in Central Park, writers in coffee shops, photographers on rooftops, and filmmakers capturing moments most people never notice. This is New York's cultural ecosystem. Diverse, alive, fueled by countless dreams. Then comes the food. New York food isn't just delicious, it's identity. It's history. It's the flavor of nearly every culture on Earth, served within a single city. You start with the classics. A New York bagel so dense and chewy it feels like it was crafted by years of tradition. A slice of pizza folded in half, dripping with cheese, eaten standing up on a street corner. A hot dog from a cart, simple yet iconic. But the true magic lies in the diversity. In Chinatown, steam rises from baskets of dumplings and hand-pulled noodles slap against wooden counters. In Koreatown, sizzling barbecue fills tiny upstairs restaurants that stay open until dawn. In Little India, aromatic curries and colorful sweets overflow from bakery windows. In Flushing, you find Chinese, Taiwanese, Korean, and Southeast Asian cuisines that rival the flavors of their home countries. In Queens, you can eat around the world in one borough, from Colombian to Greek, from Turkish to Ethiopian. New York doesn't just offer food, it offers every food. And then there's fine dining Michelin star restaurants that reinvent flavors, rooftop lounges that overlook the skyline, and hidden speakeasies that feel like stepping back in time. Food here isn't just eaten, it's experienced. But above everything else, New York is defined by its energy. It begins early before sunrise, when street vendors set up carts and bakers load trays behind foggy windows. Joggers race through parks, taxis blare their horns, and the city slowly shifts into motion. By midday, the streets pulse with life. Offices fill, subways crowd, and sidewalks become rivers of people flowing in every direction. It feels chaotic, but there's a rhythm beneath it, a rhythm New Yorkers understand instinctively. Then comes night. This is when the real magic happens. The city lights up like a galaxy. Rooftops buzz with music, bars fill with laughter, theaters glow with anticipation, and restaurants stay crowded until long after midnight. New York doesn't sleep because its people don't want the day to end. You can walk through Times Square at 2 a.m. and it feels like the middle of the afternoon. You can step into a jazz club in Harlem and lose yourself in the music. You can sit by the Brooklyn waterfront and watch the skyline sparkle like a dream you can almost touch. Every night in New York feels like an invitation to explore, to connect, to feel alive. So what is New York's culture? It's everything. It's everyone. It's a collection of voices, flavors, and moments that don't exist anywhere else in the world. It's the energy that pushes you to become more. It's the diversity that teaches you to see differently. It's the food that tells the stories of generations. It's the creativity that refuses to fade. It's the spark in the air that makes every day feel like the beginning of something extraordinary. New York isn't just a city to visit. It's a city to feel with all your senses, all at once. In the next chapter, we explore New York's seasons, how the city transforms throughout the year, and why each season reveals a new side of this incredible metropolis. Most cities change with the seasons, but New York transforms. Each season here isn't just weather, it's a completely different version of the city, with its own personality, its own rhythm, and its own magic. If you think you've seen New York once, you've only seen a fraction of it. New York in spring feels like the city finally exhaling after months of cold. The trees along Park Avenue burst into pink and white blossoms. Central Park fills with picnics and sunlight, and people flood the streets with a renewed sense of hope. The air feels lighter, the days feel longer, and even the subway seems a little less rushed. Walk through Central Park's Cherry Hill, and you'll understand why spring here is magical. The blossoms form a canopy overhead, petals floating gently to the ground like soft pink snow. At the Conservatory Garden, tulips bloom in vibrant waves, and couples stroll through the quiet paths with a calmness rare in a city that never slows down. Spring in New York is possibility, fresh, bright, and full of promise. Then comes summer, loud, warm, and electric. Summer in New York is a sensory overload in the best way. Music echoes from every corner, street performers in Washington Square Park, rooftop DJs in Manhattan, jazz musicians under cafe awnings. Outdoor movie nights fill Bryant Park, roller skaters glide through Central Park, and beaches in Coney Island overflow with families, friends, and endless laughter. Vendors sell ice-cold lemonade in the heat. Fire hydrants burst open in joy, cooling down entire neighborhoods. Ferries glide across the river, taking people to Governor's Island for lazy afternoons and hammocks and picnics overlooking the skyline. Summer brings out New York's playful side, its bold side, its unstoppable energy. The sunsets are warm and golden, stretching across the Hudson like glowing paint. Nights feel endless, and the city becomes one giant invitation to explore. But then, almost suddenly, summer fades. Leaves slowly begin to change. The air cools, and New York steps into its most famous season, autumn. This is when New York becomes a postcard, every corner glowing with shades of gold, amber, and deep red. Central Park transforms into a living painting, its pathways lined with crunchy leaves, and its trees burning with color. People wander through the Ramble, sipping hot apple cider. The Bow Bridge reflects in still waters surrounded by warm hues. Brownstones in the West Village wrap themselves in orange vines and fall decor. Cafes switch to pumpkin flavors. Sweaters return. The air becomes crisp and refreshing. Autumn in New York feels nostalgic, cinematic, like a perfect scene from a movie. The city is calmer, gentler, but still buzzing with life. Halloween parades, Thanksgiving celebrations, and the first hints of holiday lights fill the streets with excitement. It is the season where New York feels most like itself, timeless, iconic, and full of heart. And then, winter arrives. New York winters are not just cold, they're powerful, dramatic, unforgettable. The first snowfall transforms the city into something otherworldly. Streets soften under a blanket of white. Taxi roofs glisten. Streetlights glow in the haze of falling snowflakes. Central Park becomes a winter wonderland, with children building snowmen and couples ice skating hand in hand at Woolman Rink. But winter isn't just about snow. It's about the holidays. New York during the holiday season is pure magic. The Rockefeller Christmas tree towers above excited crowds, glowing with thousands of lights. Fifth Avenue windows turn into glittering displays of imagination and art. Bryant Park's Winter Village fills with hot chocolate stands and handmade gifts. Radio City Music Hall brings its legendary Rockettes to the stage, and Times Square gets ready for the New Year's Eve ball drop. The entire city feels like a celebration, warm, bright, and filled with joy, even in the coldest nights. But beneath all the beauty, there's something deeper. New York changes with the seasons because the people change with the seasons. In spring, New Yorkers breathe again. In summer, they come alive. In autumn, they savor the moment. In winter, they come together finding warmth not just in places, but in each other. No matter when you visit, New York always feels like it's telling a new story. A story shaped by its weather, its colors, its celebrations, and the millions of people who move through it every day. Every season offers a new perspective. Every season is a reason to return. This is the magic of New York. 4 different worlds in one incredible city. Cities can be beautiful. Cities can be powerful. But very few cities can make you feel something the way New York does. When you stand here, whether on a busy sidewalk, a quiet park bench, or a rooftop overlooking the skyline, you feel a pulse, a rhythm, a heartbeat. And it's unlike anything else on Earth. What is the spirit of New York? It's not a building or a landmark. It's not a skyline or a subway line. It's the people, the millions of stories moving through the city every second. You see it in the determination of a street artist in Soho who paints between passing crowds. You hear it in the laughter of friends sharing a late-night meal in Koreatown. You feel it in the hustle of a barista who remembers your order even when you don't. You sense it in the confidence of models walking through Manhattan as if every street is a runway. New York is a place where everyone arrives with a dream, big or small, and somehow the city gives them permission to chase it. The spirit of New York is found in its diversity. More than 800 languages echo across its neighborhoods, making it one of the most linguistically rich cities ever known. Walk a single block in Queens and you might pass Colombian bakeries, Himalayan restaurants, Middle Eastern spice shops, Greek cafes, and Filipino markets, all coexisting, all authentic, all proud. In New York, you don't have to look for culture. It finds you everywhere, all the time. This diversity isn't just interesting, it's the foundation of the city's identity. When people from different backgrounds live side by side, learn from each other, argue, compromise, and celebrate together, something powerful is created. A shared spirit of resilience. Resilience is perhaps the greatest characteristic of New Yorkers. Storms may flood the streets. Snow may bury neighborhoods. Heat waves may transform the subway into a furnace. But the city never truly stops. New Yorkers keep going. They keep building. They keep innovating. They keep believing that tomorrow can be better than today. That spirit grows strongest in the toughest moments. Moments when the city stands together, united by a sense of community that outsiders often don't see but locals feel deeply. When challenges come, New York rises again and again. Another part of the city's spirit lives in ambition. New York is where people come to test their limits. Creators come to create. Thinkers come to think bigger. Dreamers come to become doers. You can feel ambition in Midtown's towering skyscrapers, where lights burn long after midnight. You feel it at Wall Street as markets shift by the second. You feel it in rehearsal studios where dancers practice until their feet ache. You feel it on film sets, in lecture halls, in co-working spaces, in tiny apartments where people write, draw, design, and build long into the night. In New York, ambition is the air people breathe. But there's another side to this spirit, something quieter, something softer. You find it in the peaceful corners that tourists rarely see. The community gardens tucked between buildings, the Little League fields in Brooklyn at sunset, the fishermen at the piers of Staten Island, the families sharing barbecues in Astoria Park, the elders playing chess in Chinatown, the kids chasing pigeons near Columbus Circle. These small, everyday moments show a tenderness that often gets overshadowed by the city's speed and intensity. They prove that New York isn't just a place to dream big, it's a place to live, love, grow, and belong. And then there's the final piece of the city's spirit, the sense that anything can happen. In New York, a chance encounter can change your life. A stranger can become a friend. A question can become an opportunity. A walk down a different street can lead you somewhere unexpected. The city is alive with possibilities, so many that you can feel them in the air. Every subway ride, every intersection, every skyline view reminds you that life here is unpredictable, chaotic, and incredibly exciting. This is why people from all over the world dream about New York, not because it's perfect, but because it's alive in a way few places are. So, what is the spirit of New York? It's resilience, it's diversity, it's ambition, it's community, it's possibility. It's the belief that your story matters no matter where you came from, no matter who you are, no matter what you dream of. New York isn't just a city, it's a world within a world, a mosaic of millions of lives woven together into something powerful and unforgettable. Visitors come to see skyscrapers. They come to see Times Square and Central Park and the Statue of Liberty. But what stays with them long after they leave is the feeling, the energy, the heartbeat, the spirit of New York. And once you feel it, you never forget it. As the final light touches the mountaintops and the day slowly folds into silence, our journey through Switzerland comes to an end. But the feeling, this calm, this awe, this sense of something greater lingers long after the images fade. Switzerland is a country that doesn't shout for attention. It doesn't boast. It simply exists perfectly, quietly, powerfully. From villages where time moves gently, to lakes that hold centuries of stories, to mountains that remind us how small we are, and yet how alive we can feel. Switzerland is not just seen, it's experienced. And maybe that's the real answer to the question we asked at the beginning. Is this the most breathtaking country on earth? Perhaps the truth is this: it's not about chasing the world's beauty. It's about finding the places that awaken beauty within us. If Switzerland moved you, inspired you, or made you dream then for you, it just might be the most breathtaking place there is. Thank you for traveling with us. Until the next journey, keep exploring, keep wondering, and keep searching for the places that make your heart feel full. The world is wide, and this is only the beginning. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague? Drop it in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, safe travels and see you in the next video.